want to be able to make more money by working harder. I want to build something that is sustainable, that's not purely dependent on me. And the easiest way for me to have that flexibility is to give it to my whole team and say, I'm going to set up a company that is built for this sort of flexibility that enables all of my team members to be present for their kids and their spouses and their families.
That was Brad Griffith, the one and only founder of Buckeye Innovation, which is a team based right here in Columbus, Ohio, that builds real technology and has real impact. Brad's built so many cool things, from record-setting portals, housing development software, and digital access tools to help us become more connected as people. Brad is building infrastructure that is changing lives. And you're about to see how he does that, not just for his clients, but also his team at Buckeye Innovation. You see, Brad built a company that fixes the problems that he personally did not like in the workforce.
Just tired of waiting for the bureaucracy. You weren't eligible for a promotion. It doesn't matter what your responsibilities are, or if your manager and their manager leave and you take on their responsibilities.
And he's focused on giving his teams the empowerment and freedom that allow them to push themselves, and as a result, the company forwards to all new heights. You and I are about to learn from Brad how to create a system where flexibility and freedoms are baked in at the core, how to build a company that runs on values and not hierarchy.
Things do not always happen at Buckeye Innovation exactly the way that I would have done them. And that is fantastic. One of the main things that has enabled me to do that is setting up core values. Ingenuity, initiative, and collaboration are our 3 core values. I might toss an idea out there and tell the team, how do you feel like this fits our mission? Based on our core values, how do you think we ought to approach it?
And how to finally stop being the bottleneck in whatever it is that you are building.
Bouncing ideas off of them where they have different skill sets and different viewpoints, that's incredibly valuable. We try to build a very diverse team. We're diverse in skill set and age, gender, race, background, that they're all different ways. I try to build that sort of a diverse team because that's filling in blind spots where, from my life experiences, I might say, you know what? We need to throw technology at everything.
Man, I'm just a huge fan of Brad and everything he is building over at Buckeye. He's someone I look up to a ton, not just personally, but especially in business, as we do operate in similar verticals. And ever since we've connected over a year, 18 months ago, he's been sort of a founder, mentor, someone that I look up to that I think is doing things the right way here as we build MMG into the future. Be sure to go check out buckeyeinnovation.com, follow Brad on LinkedIn, head to the new Brick House Blue space in New Albany. Without further ado, I thank you guys for tuning into the podcast this week. This is episode 120 of Marketing by Design, and this is the one and only Brad Griffith of Buckeye Innovation by Design.
Started this business, I had 2 reasons that I would say. Number one, I was working at a corporate job. I worked at JP Chase for a couple of years, and then an internet startup, and started Buckeye Innovation. And I was just tired of waiting for the bureaucracy. You weren't eligible for a promotion until you were there for 2 years, and it's just a clock. It doesn't matter what your responsibilities are, or if your manager and their manager leave and you take on their responsibilities. It doesn't matter. You got to be there 2 years before you're eligible for promotion. I remember one time my dad was saying to me, well, everyone's an AVP, and assistant vice president at a bank. I was like, but Dad, I'm not. I'm taking on all this responsibility, but I'm not yet. And it was purely because of the bureaucracy. I was there 7 weeks and I took on a team lead role, and I just wasn't eligible. So anyway, not to get too down on corporate America, but I wanted to get out of that bureaucracy. But I also I wanted to be a present dad. My mom was PTO president when I was a kid for at least a few years, and very, very present as a volunteer in school. And I've said for a long time that I want to be a PTO president dad. This year, I'm going to be, for the Parents Association in my younger daughter's school, I'll be the treasurer, which is on the executive committee for the Parents Association. So I want that sort of flexibility. And I want to be able to make more money by working harder. I don't know if you can identify with this as, like, if you work harder and you generate more revenue, you want to benefit from that. When you're an employee, you don't directly benefit from that.
Yeah.
But you also don't have that downside. I want that flexibility to be able to work harder and have a greater impact almost immediately.
Uh-huh.
And for that impact, I want to get paid for it. Like I want to see the benefits of that. I also want to be able to take vacation. And I know that particularly when my business was smaller, when I take vacation, revenue goes down. And so I can work more and make more money. I can work less and make less money. As the business is scaled, I've said for a while, I want to build something that is sustainable, that's not purely dependent on me. Um, I want to make sure that business continues even when I go on vacation. So this is getting at your question, the flexibility. I wanted that flexibility, and the easiest way for me to have that flexibility is to give it to my whole team. And say, I'm going to set up
Yeah.
a company that is built for this sort of flexibility that enables all of my team members to be present for their kids and their spouses and their families. And so that's really why I did it. We can talk about how I did it if you want, or yeah, I think it has worked well for me, and it has become something that really is core to our culture, where the team values that flexibility and freedom.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Like, let's kind of unpack that a little bit. So, like, was there ever a point where you experienced like the opposite for yourself? How did you kind of transition out of the phase to where it wasn't equating your personal investment? You started to create more leverage in terms of what you had already built. If that makes sense. And that can look like the form of like delegation or having other people that helped you out. But where did you feel like you reached that point to where you actually could kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit?
Yeah, I hear you. I was speaking to a group of young entrepreneurs, of students, a couple of years ago, and someone said, "Brad, when was that point? Like, I'm looking forward to that point where I feel like I've just made it. When did you reach that point where you just felt like, yeah, wow, look at what I've built. I've made it." And I said, "Well, that presupposes that I have reached that point, and I don't think that." I mean, probably a lot of people who find success in one way or another feel like there is some point where they've made it. I don't know. I'm really proud of what I've built. I'm proud of the culture that we maintain. I'm proud of the impact that we have. Um, I'm proud of the presence I have in my daughter's lives, and how I'm able to partner with my wife. I hear from people, um, hear things like, my daughter, love my daughter's school. Don't ask me who their teachers are. And like, what? Can you not, like, you get involved? Know who your kids' teachers are. Know who your kids' friends are.
Yeah.
So anyway, I feel like I'm proud of what we've built. I don't feel like I have made it, and I can like go on cruise control or take the foot off the pedal. Times change, things fluctuate. You've got to be ready to keep adapting. I had someone tell me one time, give me something that stuck with me, that in 5 years, and in tech, it might be even less than this, but in about 5 years, 50% of what we get paid for today will be gone. We will not be able to make money on that anymore. Who knows which 50% that will be? And it's my job as an entrepreneur to try to figure out, how do we keep evolving and how do we adapt so that our business is still very much relevant in 5 years. And that has definitely, I've been in business 16 years now. That has taken place a few times over, where the way that we designed and built websites 16 years ago is completely different than how we do it today. The tools are different. The methodologies are different. What clients are willing to pay for is different. We have taken engineers almost completely out of our marketing site design development projects. There's still a role for them to troubleshoot and help with some of the more technical challenges. Everyone who works on a website has encountered at some point a problem where, like, I have no idea why this is happening on this website.
Tell me about it.
And so,
Yeah.
you've been there, right? You need someone who can dig in and get into the code, and that is where our engineers come in handy. When you've got a designer and a content strategist to build a site, they can do almost everything now, where that was not the case 16 years ago. The engineers, there's still a role for them to help troubleshoot really tough problems. So I don't know. So I'm getting a little bit off track here with the
Not at all.
feeling like we
Yeah.
made it, being able to take a foot off the pedal. I do feel like there's a big decision to be made in business about whether I want to do everything, and it's going to be all about me, and I'm going to make as much money as I can or have as much impact as I can just solo, because I really love doing the work, versus I'm going to build something that's sustainable, and I'm going to build systems and processes. And I know what I am best at. Like, I feel like I'm best at technology innovation and seeing connections between different businesses and different opportunities. And identifying what technology could be applied to solve a problem or make a business more effective. I think I'm really good at that. I'm good at setting culture and helping to reinforce it and build the systems that reinforce that culture. I am not our best engineer. I'm definitely not our best. I'm not a good designer at all. I don't have any training in design. I've become better with design skills. I'm not a great content strategist. I'm not actually a detail oriented person. I put a lot of systems in place, but I need people who are going to help keep track of things for me. So if I know what I know and I know what I'm best at, I know what I don't know, and I can make sure that we delegate that and get other people to work on that. That I think is set up better for scaling a business, hiring people that know those things better or better at those things than I am. And that I would say is where I started to feel like, okay, this is what I wanted to build. I want to build a team that is aligned around a vision that all businesses and organizations deserve equitable access to great technology and design. If we can accomplish that, by having a team who is all working together around that and find partners. If you like, I refer you business because I know that you serve a different niche than I do, a different budget point, someone who wants to be really efficient in how they do things. You have a deeper marketing skill set than I have. So if they want a freelancer, a person who can really dive deep with them, this is part of me feeling like I've made it. When someday I feel like I've made it, it will be that I have this ecosystem. That's my company, my team, partners. It is organizations in the community. Accelerate Columbus, that's run by the city of Columbus. That is a big part of achieving my mission of making sure that smaller businesses located in the city of Columbus, frequently female and minority-owned businesses, that they have the kind of support they need. That to me is when I feel like I've made it. When my mission is being served, the vision is coming to fruition. I don't know. We're making some really good progress, but yeah, it's a big part of that is making that decision. Do I want to be solo? Be really like you? I see as you are brilliant. You have skills that are beyond what most people have. And so, do I want to continue just using my skills, or do I want to build a team so that I can leverage their skills and be good at things beyond what I'm personally good at? So I don't know if that answers the question about
No,
how I
100%,
scale.
100%. That went above and beyond actually. But how self-aware were you in that early on? So when you sought out to kind of build a team, did you have a conscious need that said, okay, I already know what I'm not good at. This is the role. This is the person that's going to help me fill that. Were there any people, or did you just kind of consciously seek them out?
But yeah, that's a really good question, Andy. Yeah, I would say from a professional standpoint, when I started Buckeye Innovation, I started it as what I might call a three-legged stool. Like there are three pillars: design, development, and strategy. Knowing that I was not a designer, that I partnered with a designer in the very beginning, and that was from day one. I said, as soon as I can, I want to bring on a designer, because these are three core components that if you are trying to build a website, build a web app, a mobile app, you can just be a developer. You can build something that works really well, but who knows if it's actually solving a real problem. That's where the strategy comes in. Let's strategically solve problems, add value for our nonprofit and local government clients. It's driving donations. It's constituent engagement. It's delivering services more efficiently. So you need to be strategic about how we apply technology. I love solving technical problems, but only to the extent that they solve real world problems. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I had the development and the strategy side. I went back to school after finishing my undergrad in engineering, went back to business school at Ohio State, and got my MBA, Fisher College of Business. So I felt like I had those two, but design, I clearly knew I did not have that. So I knew that was something I needed to partner with others on, or I needed to bring on designers when I could. I would say, so as far as the who helped to point other blind spots out for me, in the absolute best of ways, my wife, for sure. She's a psychologist, went into school psychology. Abby has been incredible for helping me be a better person. I say that I say that with a lot of weight behind it, with a lot of meaning, not just in the you help me to be better. She balances me out in a lot of ways. She helps me to identify, not necessarily just in a professional sense, but what are the things that are driving me. She values rest a lot more than I do. I am a very high energy extrovert. I want to just go, go, go. When we go to Disney World, for instance, I want to fit in every single ride twice if I can. Like I want to go constantly, and I want to go from, they call it rope drop in the morning when they open up the park and they drop the rope and everyone can go in. I want to go from rope drop to closing. And if they've got extended hours, I want to go to, like, that is my style. I want to fit in as much as I possibly can because Disney is a whole other topic. The way that they run their business, it's
Yes. I
fascinating.
was just about to say that. We went earlier this year. Yes.
But yeah, it is
They
cool. Did you do the magic bands?
Yes, we did it. We did everything. And I was like, dude, they
It
have
is so cool.
engineered this place to strip every penny out of us from the moment we walk in here to the moment we leave. That's a whole nother
Seriously.
subject, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, but I want all those experiences. Like, I want to understand how are they doing that? That people, and it could be polarizing. Some people leave feeling like they stripped every penny out of your wallet, and you didn't enjoy it. But I love the experience. So anyway, she's helped me to understand that drive to fit in every experience, to want to eat every type of food in the park, like that is that is a style, and there are benefits to that. And what probably would have been diagnosed as ADD if I were growing up now, I just wasn't diagnosed as much 30 years ago. Uh, that can be a superpower for entrepreneurship. It can also hold me back, and I need to be aware of that. So that self awareness around those sort of things, personality style and work style, those did not come until later. And even I had a therapy appointment a couple of weeks ago and was processing some of that. Starting into therapy about a year or so ago, that has helped a lot with self-awareness. So there are aspects where I feel like I was self-aware of skill sets early on. I was not self-aware about some of my work style and personality attributes. Even my daughters help to point some things out that are incredibly valuable, very insightful, that have made me think again about how I approach things.
Yeah,
So
dude,
that's it. So I don't know, a lot of influences.
that's so good, dude. Like it's so important. I think a lot of people are, especially creatives who are a lot of my network, but they have this emotional response to feedback where they're like, they don't want to hear what they're scared of hearing certain things because it can either reflect negatively on like this identity they've built for themselves. It's especially powerful with the creative part of it because you attach so much of who you are to the work that you do. I did want to I want to talk to you about focus.
Yeah.
You've gone through a pivot sort of in Buckeye Interactive to Buckeye Innovation. And that wasn't, I don't view that as kind of like a landmark transformational change. I'm sure it looked differently internally, but um, talk to me about focus. So you had the vision in the beginning, and obviously it changes over time. Where do you kind of, as a founder, draw that line to where this is an opportunity to where this is like a distraction? What's your process for approaching new things that come up?
Yeah, good question. So the way that I take that question is around what do we offer and what don't we offer? What kind of clients do we work with? Which ones don't we work with? I started the business as Buckeye Innovation LLC. That's the official legal entity, always has been. But then about a year or so into the business, I said, largely what we're doing is marketing sites, designing and developing marketing sites for clients, lead generation sites, e-commerce sites. And interactive marketing was a phrase that really described the kind of work we were doing. And so I changed the name to Buckeye Interactive because I thought Buckeye Innovation, pretty broad. We could be manufacturing products, or we could, like, there are all sorts of things we could be doing under the Buckeye Innovation name. It's too broad. We want to be clear. This is like digital marketing, interactive marketing. Buckeye Interactive feels more descriptive. And then about 4 years ago, as we were looking at the type of work we're doing, we are doing a lot more technology innovation work these days, where we are helping to take a process. For instance, Opportunity Port is one of our projects that we did it a few years ago and supported it for a number of years, where the record sealing process for someone who has some minor offense in their criminal record. This is also getting at some of the self-awareness, some of my awareness of the effect privilege has had on my life. I feel like I had an incredible support system. I need to realize that not everyone had the advantages that I had. That doesn't mean I need to feel guilty about them, but I want to try to do things. And part of the shift in my business is to say, I need to use my privilege to help others, to help break down some systemic racism, some systemic biases. I want my girls to be respected and to know their power in our community. And so this Opportunity Port project has one example. We built for them a process in partnership with the city of Columbus, someone from city council. It's now housed at Ohio State University in their Drug Enforcement Policy Center. We built a wizard style process for someone who has some minor offense on their criminal record and they want to get their record sealed. It's been years. It was a minor offense. Sometimes it's not even a conviction. It was just a charge. But when an employer sees that, a landlord sees that, a lender sees it, that can be a cause for discrimination. And so instead of just designing a marketing site that helps educate people and generates leads, we built a process that actually helps someone get their record sealed, which studies have shown can increase their family income by $10,000 a year, just 1 year out from getting their record sealed. It's an incredible impact on their family. So that sort of process innovation work where we're building a web application, or we worked with a tire parts distributor. So tire repair shops buy from them. And we helped them with building a mobile app that helps speed up the process of reorders within the shop. And so this mobile app, they can scan QR codes on boxes in the shop and add items to an order, send those through an approval process. It speeds up shipping, increases the average order value, increases the frequency of orders. That sort of innovation work, that goes beyond digital marketing or interactive marketing. And so that's why we changed the name. And what one other elements, then you can tell me if I'm getting at the whole question here.
Don't ever worry about that.
I really feel like, and this is touching on one of the previous questions around self-awareness, the clients who I want to work with are the ones who are self-aware, who say, you know what, I know what I'm really good at. We are incredible at working with the justice system and understanding what is it that needs to be done to get someone's record sealed, and how do we build trust in the community. Connect Us, for instance, a project of Smart Columbus and the Franklin County Digital Equity Coalition, is a portal that helps people sign up for digital skills classes. Smart Columbus is an incredible connector. They know what they know. They know the technology, they know the community, but they partner with the Columbus Library and Goodwill Columbus and Jewish Family Services and Lutheran Social Services, partner with all these organizations because they are on the ground. They're with people who need support. And so through this portal, we built a portal that enables individuals who want to build digital skills to sign up for a class. Before we worked with them, there was a tough form. So if you don't have great digital skills, it's hard for you to imagine this because your digital skills are amazing. If you don't know how to use a computer, how would you want to sign up for a class to learn about computers?
Yeah.
Would you do it on a computer?
It's almost like you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't want to go through this lengthy process online if you are not really comfortable online. So we built an online form that is far easier for them to use. But it took some self-awareness for these organizations to say, you know what, we know how to train people and we know how to be out in the community. We know what we know. We don't know the technology side. We're going to get Smart Columbus involved for this integration, the community-wide effort. And Smart Columbus says, you know what, we don't build actual software. We're going to facilitate the process. We need Buckeye Innovation to do the development of this application. They partnered with Zoco Design as well on the design side. I love Lacey Picazzo's team. They do great work. So Zoco did a lot of the user experience research and design work. And then we actually partnered on it. So I love clients like that where they know what they know. They know what they don't know. And so our focus is around technology innovation, particularly with mission-driven organizations, particularly where we're trying to close some equity gap. And so that, I would say that the Buckeye Innovation part, that's because we're doing technology innovation work and amplifying individuals or businesses' impact by using technology and design. But as we've pivoted even more in these last couple of years, more towards equitable access to technology and design, trying to make sure that when you are a nonprofit organization, you're trying to have an impact on the community, teach the community digital skills, make sure everyone has equitable access to broadband and digital devices. This Connect Us portal is a great tool for bridging that equity gap, for closing that gap. And we want to build the technology and design that's going to do that. So I don't know. I'm over answering your questions as well. I'm self-aware that I like to talk a lot. I'm getting to be an older guy that likes to tell stories. So
dude, I gotta watch that. That's what this medium is for, dude. Like, I know you well enough to say, like, I'll cut you off if you're going too long. Don't ever worry
Sounds
about
good.
that.
Sounds good.
But yeah, and I think like even as I hear that, I sort of problem like each phase represents new problems. So for example, how did you sort of approach the aspirations that you have for the company and separate that from you, like your personal maybe opinions, emotions, aspirations, vision versus what's best for like the company, right? So you could have this and I mean, it all comes back to the self-awareness piece of knowing kind of what you want to build, and separating that work-life balance a little bit. But how did you sort of, when you have an inclination to do something, do you have a process to where it's like run this by the team, filter, get feedback, and how do you separate maybe Brad's ideas and shiny objects maybe from what's best for the team now that you have like 15 people?
I mean, similar to at home, like I'll float an idea out there and say, like, Abby, and I'll ask the girls, what do you think about this? Would you be interested in this sort of like a vacation? Um, and yeah, they'll get to tell me their thoughts on it. So yeah, work definitely with the team. I've got a great management team. There are four of us on the management team. Three brilliant women join me on my management team. And so bouncing ideas off of them where they have different skill sets and different viewpoints, that's incredibly valuable. We try to build a very diverse team. So across our team, we're diverse in skill set and age, gender, race, background, that they're all different ways. I try to build that sort of a diverse team because that's filling in blind spots where from my life experiences, I might say, you know what, we need to throw technology at everything. And someone else, Kaylin on my team, for instance, is one example. There are many examples. Probably shouldn't call any out because I could give you an example for every one of my team members. But Kaylin has a background working in education and with individuals in the justice system and with veterans. And pulling from her life experience and her work experience to understand what one of our constituents needs, what one of our clients' users might need, that is incredibly important. So I do think that over time, as I built up a management team, that is a sounding board. But I also need to let go of some things. Things do not always happen at Buckeye Innovation exactly the way that I would have done them. And that is fantastic. I'm glad it doesn't happen the way that I would do it personally because it's better when we let the team do it. So I would say setting up one of the main things that has enabled me to do that is setting up core values. Ingenuity, initiative, and collaboration are our three core values. And so having three core values, not 7, not 10, 20, that's important. The team can remember those. I can ask the team what our core values, and they can all recite the core values to you. Innovation is one that keeps getting put in there because it's in our name. So it'd be hard to separate from that, but they can do those. They can recite those. Our mission and vision, talking about bringing equitable access to the best web and mobile technology to all businesses and organizations in our community, that is important. My team that's a little bit longer. We read it every Monday in our team meetings to make sure that the work that we're doing focuses on that. We recognize team members based in that Monday meeting, recognize team members based on things they've done in the past week that adhere to those core values. So that's one of the ways that I try to take a step back. I might toss an idea out there and tell the team, how do you feel like this fits our mission? And what, based on our core values, how do you think we ought to approach it? And based on our diverse skill sets, based on the design, development, content strategy, how would you all do this? And they have taken the business in directions that I would not have thought to take it. The way that our UX practice, our user experience design practice has been built up, I didn't have the skill set to build that, but I had the skill set to recruit and to find people who had that skill set and had the vision to set that up. I've got leaders in place in different areas of the business where I feel like they should be able to run with their part of the business. So there's a certain amount of set up the structure, the core values, the vision, the mission, and then empower the team to follow, to do what they think they should do based on those core values and the mission. I'm
Awesome.
answering the question about how do
Yeah.
I toss an idea out there, but then let the team figure out how do we implement that based on vision, vision, values.
Yeah. And I think everyone can kind of take away, like, for example, having a 0 to 1 process like that, because I think so many people who just don't share ideas are everything. And having some kind of process where you can like either stress test them or have an MVP sort of thing where you create 0 to 1. For a lot of people, that's creating content, sharing ideas, like their own sort of version of thought leadership. Because I've had it happen so much too. Like I'm in a phase where
In the past week, I've sent like 14 like short Loom videos asking for feedback on the site. Some of my best relationships in MMG and finding the business have been, okay, I'm going to over deliver for you in the beginning. A lot of the process as to whether or not it's a good decision goes into the case specifically. Mm, I think when it's for friends, that's when it nearly never goes in a great direction. But
Dangerous. Yeah.
yeah, do you have any case studies or stories to where maybe shape your opinion on, okay, I'm going to over deliver for you in the beginning and really invest in our relationship and create goodwill, show you what I can do, sort of thing, on either the positive or negative case? And what is your recommendation to maybe younger creatives who are in the same boat?
Like, really good question. The way that I tend to approach that, where do we do work? We do not do speculative work for clients. So a for-profit business that is evaluating multiple vendors, you've probably gotten this before. Like, give us
Yeah,
a proposal and
RFP.
give us
Yeah,
a mock-up. Give us a mock-up
yeah,
of what the website might look like. Do you get that sometimes?
yes,
Like, no, that's
yeah,
the work. That's the
yeah,
work. Like you pay for that. And who am
exactly.
I? Like, speaking of like being presumptuous or self-aware, presumptuous or self-aware being alternatives to each other. Designing your mock-up before we've gone through this process is super presumptuous. Like, who am I to tell you what your website should look like? I need
Right.
to talk to you, and we've got a process together. So
Yeah.
speculative work we do not do. Period. We will not do that. I'm open. I'm interested in what AI could do to generate. If we tell them, this is AI generated, this is not reflective of our actual design work, but it gives you some guide. I'm interested in what that might be able to do, because then it's not taking a bunch of our time and effort. So speculative work, we do not do that. I think you're asking about free, like doing something for free for a client as a
It can't
free
even be free.
test.
Maybe even just like
Yeah,
compromising, like saying, this is our usual minimum investment. We'll compromise and say, like, we'll work on an hourly basis. So we'll just use our time. We'll
yeah,
just bill you for our time, something like that, where you compromise in order to, for a different incentive or vision that may come later.
sure. So I very much want our clients to look at us as a premium partner, that we are doing very high quality work. I will not discount our work. I will not do the same work for less money. I will cut down scope. If they say, $40,000, we just can't afford that. We really needs to be $30,000. Say, well, let me go back to the team. Let me see if we can cut out 25% of the work without damaging the integrity of the product.
Quality, yeah.
Can we do a smaller but still high quality project for you? I will do that. We also have had some great success stories in doing a very small starter project for clients. So, our minimum, we don't have a firm hard minimum, but for a small microsite, it might be $20,000. For a typical website design development with some content strategy work, about around $40,000. If we're building a web app, it could probably be 60,000 or more. Mobile apps would be a little bit more than that. So I've got typical starting points or averages. I will say, you know what? You've got a problem on your existing website. Why don't we solve that problem for you? And
Mm,
that's going to be a much smaller, let's set aside $1,000 budget or a $500 budget even for just to do a little bit of investigation, a proof of concept. We've got a couple of those projects coming up that it's just a small sample of what we can do. And we have had some really big success stories of those turning into big engagements.
mhm.
The ones that I don't think go as well, uh, where we don't charge anything. Have any of you had someone say, you know what, I'm super well connected. Like, I will make all sorts of
So
referrals.
many people are going to see this. Yeah.
So many people are going to see this. It is going to be huge for your career, Andy. Your business is just going to blow
Like,
up in a very
just like,
positive.
you're so lucky to be working with me. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
gotten
right,
that.
right. Just do this for free and you're going to be set for life. Those I don't do. Like I said, there's got to be something, you got to pay something to make sure that you have skin in the game. If you don't have some investment in it, you're not going to take it as seriously, and you're not
Yeah.
going to value it as much as a client. So
Yeah.
so we don't do that. And these are all slightly hot takes that you could take a different approach, and that would be okay. I will do pro bono work for nonprofits. So if there's a cause that we care about, um, I care deeply about equity. I feel like not everyone needs equality. Not everyone needs the exact same website or the same services. Some organizations might need a little bit more. And so I'm board chair right now for City Year Columbus, an organization that takes AmeriCorps members recently out of college, and most of them recently out of college, and puts them into city schools. And here in Columbus, it's in Columbus City Schools, and they support teachers as student success coaches. I care deeply about their organization, so we donate. I'm serving on the board. I'm helping to build leadership, helping to support their team. We have nonprofits that we took on a project recently doing a website design for a cancer support organization. That it's a foundation, a charitable foundation. They're educating cancer patients on new cancer treatments and methodologies that are not as damaging to the body as radiation and chemotherapy. It's an amazing cause. We've got one of our team members, Stacy. She is an organizer for the Pan Ohio Hope Ride, a bike ride supporting cancer research. And so we have team members who are passionate about the cause. We did charge them something, but we did probably 10 times as much work as what we charged them. And so that gives them some stake in it, some investment, but it's a cause we care about, and we want to do that sort of good in the community. And so that's another approach. You might find nonprofits where we have a passion, we're willing to go a little bit above and beyond. So, I don't know, does that address some of how we address
Yes, it does.
how we
Spot
approach that
on.
work?
Yeah, spot on. And I think there's a general, you can tell pretty early whether or not the work is being valued. I think that's a big part of where it comes from, and also communicating expectations and what is or isn't your norm. I think a lot of it comes back to clear communication, and also too, dude, like there's the part of it to where you have the vision, the bigger impact. So I think it's staying clear on what your alignments are and the values of the company that you talked about earlier. I think is really top of mind. But you
Yeah.
hear some founders say,
Sometimes it's just sometimes it's too good. Like a lot of our clients, when they have some equity gap they're addressing in the community, they are too slow to consider technology as an approach. And I just can't stand it. I'm like, there's a great technology solution or a great way that technology can be leveraged to do that better. Tons of businesses as well. If you only applied this technology that you may or may not know about, there's a way that you could address this and you could amplify your team's productivity 10x. And it's just too good. And so there are times where I'll say, we just have to do this. And even if you don't have the budget for it, I've just got to do this. Let me at least give you this proof of concept.
That's the creative part of it, dude. Like that's so good. Have you ever read or heard of James Clear's Atomic Habits?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've read it a couple times.
Yeah, but I mean, what you said was so spot on, because his biggest thing in his case study was compromising on scope and not on quality. So his version of that was he went from writing a newsletter every week for 10 years to having to automatically start to write a book. And he transitioned to this huge book project, which was a 5-year investment, writing all day, every day. But when it comes to compromising on scope and not on quality, he dialed back the newsletter to be a long form essay, to eventually tailoring it down to just a paragraph, and 2, less frequency. And then eventually his newsletter now is called 3-2-1s, where it's literally 3 things at the beginning of the week. Lacey was actually mentioned in it last year, because he lives in Columbus.
Wow. Yeah.
Network, but he literally distilled it all the way down to like the smallest value. He had iterated so much on his process and knowing his audience that he was able to take the smallest extrapolation of time investment on his own end to create the most value for that audience in a very small distillment. And that's where leverage comes in, and that's where doing the reps and knowing and being able to arrive at that, because you can't skip through that process.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, that's all of our services. The way that we deliver services, it's optimized around growing innovative organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So someone who's trying to grow and they want to innovate, we have built tooling so that our team can switch between projects much faster, and we can ramp up a development environment, launch a site faster than others can. And so we can compete against these really big companies because we have professionals in design, development, and content strategy, and we've built our processes literally for rapid innovation.
Yeah,
so
that's going like super deep, but they have like the T-shaped skills, right? So you have your breadth of industry experience. You can cover all these other areas. You have probably for Buckeye would be, you have interactive, you have like the 3 stools we talked about, design, development, but then you have this super deep unifying common theme that you can bring into other projects. So that's the innovation, right? That's the things that you can take all these different industries that may sound different, but have that common throughput to where you can really go deep and add a lot of value to that specific person because there's commonalities there. The last thing, I'm super mindful of your time, but the last thing I had in my notes that I want to touch to you with you on is a question I like to ask a lot of founders, because it always consistently has a really good response. Is what's the one skill that can be developed through conscious practice and focus that compounds as a founder and is therefore worth investing in early in your career?
So, I mean, the easy answer would be self-awareness. Like, keep practicing that reflection, self-awareness, and I think that's incredibly valuable. I would say, culture building is something that I think is vitally important in the company, and it takes both that time up front to define core values and mission and vision, know what it is that you're doing, how you're doing it, the vision, where you're headed, what's the ultimate goal, the mission, how do you accomplish that? The values would be those things that determine on a daily basis, how do we approach each task? So practicing that by developing up front and then checking everything you do against those values and vision and mission. I feel like that's a skill set. It's not something that you just go to a consultant and you get it developed. We are doing this constantly where we look at how do we approach projects and which projects do we take on and which ones don't we take on. And is a client aligned with those core values? Do they want us taking initiative or do they want us to wait and they tell us what to do? That's not a good fit for us. Do they want to collaborate on this or is it much more one side? You go do it and come back to us. We don't want to have involvement in the project. Do they want us to think creatively or do they want us to show them that we have done this exact same project for another client and they want just a copy basically of that's not using ingenuity. So I would say practicing applying those core values, building up the culture of the team. I feel like I need to be the chief culture officer on our team. If I'm not a good example of the core values, then no one will be. So I don't know. I would say maybe that's the skill set, establishing and reinforcing a culture in your company that takes a lot of intentional practice and effort. They're the people that have the growth mindset that want to get better and want to innovate and try new things. I think frequently about is our technology aligned with our strategy? And I ask that about our clients. Do you have a strategy for your organization? Does the technology support that? And so we need to live it so that we can do that for clients as well. There are people who have that growth mindset and are trying to align those and bringing in, back to some of our other topics, they're bringing in people who are experts in the areas where they are not experts. And so that I feel like, to me, that growth mindset goes along with it. You've talked about that, of being open to feedback. I think it's awesome that you're getting feedback from people and trying to be open to it. As much as it hurts sometimes, it does help you be better.
Yeah, it is. And it's been like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through like the highs and lows emotionally, but
sure.
that was, and I realized like if you feel this way, it means you have to detach and not be so emotionally in the weeds in terms of what you're feeling. Just think like, okay, this is what happened. This is result. And then this is, how we're going to create the most productive outcome possible. And also just not attaching so much of your self-worth to that one single thing. Then I think, and as I've done these interviews and podcasts and stuff, you can tell like when we start to recircle on a lot of the same ideas as in the beginning, that means it was a really productive conversation. So, but dude, like I said, man, I seriously can't thank you enough for coming on. Every time
appreciate having me.
It's super energizing conversation. I see nothing up and to the right for you guys. You've been a mentor to me, even just in the couple times that we've chatted, and the impact that you've had, not just in, Columbus, but through all of the mutuals. And I've never heard a sour word about you guys. I want to thank you for coming on. And how can people get in touch if they want to learn more about you guys?
Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, you can find us at buckeyeinnovation.com online. You can email me, brad@buckeyeinnovation.com. I love having conversations, particularly if you're growing, you're innovating, you're a nonprofit, a local government, someone who's found some equity gap and you're trying to close it, and there's got to be a better way with technology. I love having conversations about that. I'd love to brainstorm all day long. So please send me an email. Find us at buckeyeinnovation.com. Come hang out at Innovate New Albany, New Brick House Blue at Innovate New Albany. You'll find me there most days. Thanks for having me, Andy. I really appreciate it.